Hey fam, welcome back. So today we're going to be talking about the Bitcoin miners, and we'll be talking about the Fed a little bit too. So with that being said, let's get it. All right, so I know a lot of you guys have been pretty frustrated. The price of the trusts have not been moving as much. Trust me, I get it. What you guys are failing to understand, you're only seeing things from your perspective. You're not seeing things from the entire macro perspective. You guys need to remember that the Fed hasn't, they began cutting rates, but the Fed has come out and said that they think they're likely not going to cut rates in January. I don't think that's going to be the case, but we'll see. But the reality is the Fed has to keep cutting rates for these markets to go higher because there is a strong inverse correlation between the dollar and Bitcoin and the treasury yields in Bitcoin, okay? So when the dollar and the treasury yields go down, which they are going down, which is a good sign, that usually means that Bitcoin and crypto goes up, but we need to see those Fed funds rate come down as well. So I'm going to talk about that in a minute, what I think is likely going to happen here soon. So there's really no need for me to comment on the Litecoin ETF. Look, if they get an ETF, they get an ETF. We'll just have to wait and see how it works out. The spot Bitcoin ETF caused the price of Bitcoin to go absolutely stupid. The spot ETH ETF did absolutely nothing. Of course, it's not. We're in the phase now where Ethereum should start gaining on Bitcoin, but that still has yet to be seen. So different ETFs have had different reactions. I really cannot tell you guys with any certainty what's likely going to happen. That's exactly why I said there's no reason for me to comment. Something else I want you guys to think about too is in terms of the strategic Bitcoin ETF, I believe that they're actually going to make it a strategic crypto ETF. So there may be some other ETFs for some other altcoins in the market there as well. That's also up in the air. I don't know if they're going to do that or not, but I've seen that that's been talked about. And the other thing I want you guys to keep in mind too, like I said, yes, okay, sure, some of these trusts are not moving. But you guys got to understand, we have some altcoin positions that haven't really moved yet either. A lot of the altcoins have not moved. Bitcoin has not moved. It's mainly just gone sideways for a couple of months. The miners, for the most part as well, have not really moved, and neither has MSTR and Coinbase. So, you guys, I'm not trying to point fingers here and say you guys act as if your positions are the only positions in the entire universe that are not going anywhere, because that's not the case. But that's kind of what it sounds like. So I just wanted to, broaden your guys' perspectives here. Again, when in doubt, zoom out, right? The entire crypto market is not really doing much of anything right now. We're waiting to see what, the FOMC meeting is going to do. We have big tech earnings coming up this next week. Try to keep things into perspective, okay? The problem with a lot of people that come to these markets, and I've seen this over the years, okay? There's been people that have made money. They've lost their entire savings, their life savings. Some people have even lost more than that. They've been indebted to some of these brokers making absolutely stupid decisions, more like gambling than actually trading or investing. Trading is strategic. It is not gambling. Okay, there's a difference, and investing is vesting. But over the many, many years, I have seen many people just think like, oh yeah, I'm just going to make, $1 billion in 5 minutes. Guys, it doesn't work like that. You can make a lot of money in a short period of time, but it depends on what the markets do. Catalysts, macroeconomics, there's a lot that goes into it. For people that get in this game and stay in this game long term, especially if you're active in this game, meaning you actually trade, it requires a great deal of patience and discipline, okay? You can't come in here acting like a pouty child thinking, oh, well, I didn't get my gains today. It's been 5 minutes, but I haven't made $1 billion yet. Guys, it's not going to work like that, okay? The markets do not give a damn about your emotions. I'm just going to be real with you. They don't care, okay? They don't care. Look, I'm going to tell you guys this, all right? Retail, they chase the rally. You know what smart money does? They sit on the sidelines for weeks, months, maybe even years in some cases, like Warren Buffett, on cash, doing absolutely nothing, wasting away with time, growing old, basically waiting to die, sitting on cash for the perfect opportunity, okay? And when they see that opportunity like a snake in the grass waiting to strike its prey, they wait until the time is right and then they strike. Okay, these guys have a great deal of patience and discipline. Again, I can't tell you guys what to do, but there's a lot of people that would do well, very well, to consider implementing some of what they do, which is what we're also trying to do. So now, in terms of the Fed, so I did want to bring something up that perhaps you guys have forgotten about. We talked about this previously on the channel at one point. I don't remember exactly when. I think it's when we went over the history of Biden and the Democratic policies and how they've, all the things that have happened under them. I can't remember exactly, but there was a point in time before the Fed began raising rates in 2021. I think it was kind of maybe the middle towards the end of 2021 when there was some news outlets that were talking about a secret meeting between the then President of the United States, Biden, and Jerome Powell. Keep in mind, this is not uncommon. The Fed and the President of the United States work very closely together. Again, the POTUS at one point in time created the Fed or allowed them to have independence from the government. Their independence can always be taken away by the government. Make no mistake, the Fed thinks that they're untouchable. They are not. I support the Fed being independent as long as they do what they're supposed to do and do what they're told. It's really that simple. But if they're not going to do that, then maybe it wouldn't be a bad idea for Trump and his administration to find somebody else, if you know what I'm saying. But during that time frame, Neil Kashkari, which is one of the Fed members, he came out and said, "Oh yeah, we basically have an infinite amount of cash, guys. Like they can literally just print money endlessly," which they did. But I want to remind you guys that there was a meeting between Biden and Powell at that time before the rates started getting raised. So what I'm trying to get at here is and I don't know if you guys watch the news. I do quite a bit because I have to follow this stuff. Again, if you're in the markets heavily, you're active in the markets, this is the kind of stuff you want to know about, right? There's a lot of very wealthy people that are not actually institutions or banks. They're like individual retail traders or accredited investors that understand all this stuff. They follow this stuff, okay? You'll want to know if this meeting happens. So there's a possibility that on the news at some point we may see, oh, well, there's going to be a secret meeting between Trump and Powell. If you guys see that, I would be willing to bet that what that is indicative of is that likely the Fed is about ready to cut rates. Okay, we're going to see rate cuts and probably many of them shortly after that. So that could easily happen. All right. So, and of course, you guys already know with that happening, that would send the price of assets to the absolute moon, and it would be stupid how much money everybody would make. It would be like 2020 and 2021 all over again, which I think probably likely is going to happen. Okay, so let's get into the actual content here. All right, so Coinbase. And again, for those of you guys that feel like you're stuck in your positions, if you don't want to sit and wait on the sidelines, you think there's better opportunity elsewhere, you could try to maybe average it down and get out for break even when the time is right, like we did with ETCG. I'm not telling you what to do, but if you feel like you're wasting time and you don't want to wait, that's up to you. I mean, we've been sitting on CLSK and Coney and even Soxel to some extent for months, waiting for us. Not really a problem. It's just a matter of timing and strategy is really all it is. Some trades work out in a day. Sometimes they take like a few weeks, few months. It just depends. But that's just, just thought I'd throw that out there just in case any of you guys didn't think about that. So anyways, Coinbase. So we got a nice little breakout out of this descending channel. Again, the target is 360. That's the top of the channel. It looks good, and we got a wick off of the EMAs too, so it looks very bullish, and obviously we held the structure. So that's all good. We do have earnings coming up too. There is also that. I don't know if that earnings date is accurate. Again, the one of the earnings date for the miners was switched in the past, so I'm a little hesitant to say that's actually the earnings date. But according to TradingView, it is. So again, the Fibonacci's here. According to the current price action, the top level would be about 730. It wouldn't shock me at all if it hit that level. I would not be surprised. I'm just going to be real with y'all with all the bullish policies and all that we got coming out. It's very much a possibility. Okay, so the buy area I'd be looking at down here at 260 if you're looking to get in. That's a pretty major level down there. Again, you guys are free to do what you want to with that. MSTR has broken out as well. You guys can see a very similar pattern here, okay? The target for the top of the descending channel is basically the previous all-time highs at 550. So not a bad move. I mean, just to go from here to there is about a 55% gain. That's pretty good if you do options. It could be even more than that. So in terms of the retracement levels here, so from swing high to swing low, that's how you do a bullish retracement. We could be looking at a price as high as 1,380. Do I think that's possible even after a 10-to-1 stock split? Well, that's an interesting question. I mean, last time we talked about MSTR potentially being a buy, it was all the way down here in the hundreds, and then it went up to like 500s. So the stock split was way back here when it was consolidating, and it did a 5x from that point. So yeah, I think it's definitely a possibility. Probably even likely going to happen once we see this bull run really start to kick off, that this thing could easily go above $1,000. I would not be shocked. So for a pullback area, I'd be looking somewhere around 320 to 300. If you guys are looking to potentially get in, that may be kind of your zone. Maybe worst case scenario 285. Okay, so let's get into the miners. Okay, so some of these bad boys got earnings coming up. I wanted to show you guys this. So we got the oversold signal. Price went back up pretty much immediately after that, but we do have a golden cross here on Mara. Okay, on the 4-hourly time frame, that's usually our swing trade indicator. When we see that, we get in immediately after that golden cross, so long as the price doesn't stretch too far above. Riot, you can see same thing. We're getting higher lows and higher highs here. It's all good. CLSK also finally got the golden cross. I was wondering if it was ever going to happen. Nice little W pattern here. That's also very bullish, and what appears to be a beginning of the breakout of this huge channel that we were in. Last time we got the golden cross was all the way back here. Price shot up from $11 to $18. That should give you guys kind of an idea of potentially what to expect here. So according to TradingView, earnings coming up for this, we'll see. Don't know if they're going to move the date yet or not. But you guys can see very similar situations, setups going on here. Okay, lots of golden crosses on the 4-hourly time frame. Another thing to keep in mind, usually when you get these on smaller time frames like the hourly and 4-hourly, eventually they're going to pop up on the daily and the weekly too, assuming that the price continues in that direction, which I don't see any reason why it wouldn't. I mean, there's literally everything bullish under the sun that you can imagine is happening right now. But yeah, every single one of these getting a golden cross. So it's looking pretty good. As well, all except one or two is getting one. So as far as I'm concerned, it actually looks pretty bullish. So you can see the EMA is curling up here, about to get that golden cross on Mara. Already got the crosses on the other two indicators. Nice little W pattern, bounce off the trend line, looks good. So for buy zone on this one, I'm still looking at 1730 to 20. Targets ranging anywhere from 2770 to 33. You can also do options on this too. So best or worst case scenario in this case, if it does pull back to 17, which I really highly doubt is going to happen, 87% move. If you're doing options on this, you can do cash secured puts and cover calls for extra income on top of the profits. If you know how to time and position yourself correctly in these, you could also, see, you can see we already got the golden cross on the weekly time frame here. We're just kind of getting a pullback in time, and then boom, it should rip to the upside. Probably pretty quick here, but anyways, so what I was saying is you can do cover calls and cash secured puts on the miners, especially as they go up in value. The premiums go up in value with the volatility and the increase in price for extra income on top of the profits. Or you can do call debit spreads depending on, there's many different time frames. Like you can do it a week out, a month out, 2 months out. Because of the theta decay, we don't like to do call debit spreads with an expiration of shorter than 3 months, because it reduces the value of the contract way too quickly. And we want to give the trade more time to play out. That's just some food for thought. You could also potentially do, what are they called? Leap options or poor man's covered calls. Again, if you guys don't know what that is, do your research. Anyways, pretty much in this box, I would say is a good area to potentially pick some up. So 1050 to roughly about 1380, targets 1870 to about 21 here on Riot. I do think it's easily going to hit $20 a share. I don't see any reason why that couldn't happen. So 95%. CLSK, so this one is not yet above the EMAs, but it does look like it's really trying to get up there. So you can see this big, huge, fat, green engulfing candle pushed right up to the top of the channel, and then we actually got a breakout of the channel. I would have liked to have seen this be a green candle, but still it is above this trend line, so that's also bullish with a nice long wick to the downside. Again, the target for the top of the channel is 18. I think it's probably going to go higher than 18. That's just my opinion. So probably, yeah, I'd probably say about the current price, 1150 would potentially be a good area to pick some up. Worst case scenario, 930 again, but I just don't see it happening. I mean, it looks pretty bullish at this point. So targets up here at 21 to 24, and a lot of people, they're saying, oh, the targets are the same exact targets, 110% gain. Well, I mean, guys, if the price hasn't moved, the targets and the entry and exits are going to be exactly the same, don't you think? Right? I mean, I could say, oh well, maybe. I mean, think about it like this for a second. If I were to tell you guys, like, say, oh God, oh, I think it's going to dump off a cliff, it's going to go down here, you guys would get all terrified, right? But why would I tell you that if the charts are not telling me that it's not going to go down? The price is not below the EMAs. It's wedged in between. It's sitting on top of a support zone. You got higher highs, higher lows here. Why would I tell you it's going to drop down through the floor just to give you another price that's not even relevant to current price action? It's kind of stupid, don't you think? And again, I'm not trying to knock anybody here by saying this, but you guys got to be realistic about what you're looking at. I mean, the price action is what it is. It's going to move when it's going to move. Trust me. I don't like that it's not moving. Just like a lot of you guys don't either. But again, if you don't like it, you can always get out of whatever trade you want to, or you're in if you want to, and just get into something else. If you think that's going to move faster, that's up to you. We're willing to wait because the profit's probably eventually going to roll in at some point. So I would say 1750, or it's $17 to about 22 for HUD 8 on this one. Again, the EMA is sitting on the support, and that would make perfect sense. Target's 28 to 33 on this one. So you got your swing high up there at the top of resistance for a 90% gain. Cypher. So again, it does appear a series of higher highs here sitting above the EMAs and support. That's a bullish. That's a confluence of bullishness right there. Okay, if it was truly bearish, and I thought if I thought based on what I'm seeing in the price action that this thing really was going to tank off a cliff, I would tell you guys. I'm not going to sit here and lie to you guys and be like, oh yeah, guys, it's going to go up, when it actually looks like it's really just going to go to zero. Okay, I don't do that. We don't do that here. So you guys get transparency. That's what you get. If it doesn't feel good or it's not what you want, I don't have any control over that. Okay, the markets do what they do. So Cypher support zone here, 5 to 550, targets all the way up at 10 to 1070. So potentially as much as a 2x on this one. That's pretty good. 113% gain. Again, it's kind of sitting in that buy area that used to be resistance. Just throwing that out there. So BTBT, series of higher highs and higher lows, making a slow bleed up. I would say probably somewhere around 330 to maybe 370 to pick some up. Targets going 490 to about 590 on this one. You guys could also wait for the RSI to get oversold on the 4 hourly time frame too, like we're doing. With some of these other trades, that's up to you. There's different ways to play these markets. You guys just got to figure out a strategy that works best for you. So 73% gain here, BITF. This one's in the buy zone. Again, you guys can do what you want to with that. So 150 to about 170. I would probably put the targets here somewhere between maybe 2 to about 240 on this one, at least until it gets above that zone, for about a 50% gain. And again, this is a level that's likely, I mean, at least for now, it looks like it's likely going to hold because we've been sitting here for 6 weeks and it has not broken down. It is still below the EMAs, but again, I mean, the reality is if the bears were going to crack this zone, they probably would have done it already. Would be my guess. It usually doesn't sit there for that long a period of time without breaking down. So Hive, it's pretty close to the buy zone. Again, you guys can do what you want to with that. That's about that 280 area. The zone itself is roughly about 210 to 280. Targets, I'd be looking for about 5 to up to 760 on this one. for about 166% gain. Iron, same thing as which one was it? I think it was not BITF. Very similar to BTBT. This one looks a lot like BTBT. So slowly bleeding up, higher highs, higher lows. Very bullish looking. You have this ascending triangle, which is also very bullish looking. The entire triangle, I think I actually measured this wrong. So the entire triangle itself, actually need to, yeah, if I'm not mistaken, no, I think it's once. I have to go back and look at this, but I think it's once the triangle actually begins. That's the measure, how you measure it. Again, I don't see these too often during day trading, so they're pretty rare. But the target in this case would be $73. I suppose it's possible. I mean, again, if Trump wants all the Bitcoin mined in the U.S. and that does actually start happening, it's possible the prices of these things could get kind of stupid. So I'd say probably around 940 to 12 on this one, right around that trend line and the EMAs for potential pick me up. Targets all the way up at that swing high up there at 19 for about 100% gain. Wolf, same thing, higher highs, higher lows. Haven't quite broken out of this channel pattern yet. Again, I don't know why TradingView keeps doing this. Well, I suppose it's actually a rising wedge. So do I think it's going to break down and probably dump off a cliff? Not really. I highly doubt it. We'll just have to wait and see. This is a bearish pattern, but I mean, the fact that it's gone up for this long and hasn't broken down, and it's still relatively cheap. I would say probably not. So the buy area here, 480 to 650, targets anywhere from 950 to about 1620 for about 234% gain. Again, if you guys are worried about it dropping off a cliff, I can tell you guys right now the target for this pattern, if it was going to play out, would be right around the bottom of the wedge, so about $1. That's up for you guys to decide if you think that's going to happen or not. But if the miners as a whole are going up, then I would say this one's probably also still going to go up. So anyways, hope you all enjoyed this content. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see y'all later. Peace.